30 hertz straight up.
Hello, you guys. Thank you for tuning in to another wonderful Wednesday with Lupus Has No Face podcast with your wonderful host, Savannah. And I have a special guest, my sister, Dr. LaShawn Garolla. How are you doing today?
I am good. I am on my last leg here, and I'm saving the last spoon for you, Savannah, just for you.
See how special I am, you guys? But I'll do the same for her. I will do the same for her. So
You special because I'm sporting your paraphernalia.
Yes. What is that you're wearing?
Beg your pardon?
What is that you're wearing?
I'm wearing your branded shirt for Lupus Has No Face.
That's right. You heard what she said, you guys. So yes. If you got Lupus Has No Face shirts, please post them because we want to see them. It's lupus 365 days out of the year, not just for May. Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And you got your long-awaited interview.
Yes.
And I kept you from hitting the pavement in DC.
We could talk about that. Hey, I still don't believe her, but she said what she said, so I'm gonna let her have it. Oh, I believe that was something, wasn't it?
Yes, I've never seen anybody sleep standing up, but it's okay. I had your back.
When I tell you they ran over to me so fast, I'm like, what is going on?
I'm like, she's asleep, she's standing up. I'm like, Kim, look. And I forgot if it was Kim or Levita. Well, we came and got you. I know that we moved real fast.
Started the mess out of me. You woke me up out my sleep.
Who sleeps standing up? Somebody with lupus, right? Boom.
There you go. Put up the L's. Put up the L's. So thank you so much for all of that. But let's jump right into it.
Let's go.
Who is, which I would like to call her top notch, but who is Dr. LaShawn Garolla? Who is she?
Who is Dr. LaShawn Garolla? I'm the same person you've known for the last, 4 or 5 years?
I mean, they don't know.
Yeah, I'm just me. I'm just like anybody else. I'm a mom. I'm a nurse practitioner. I have a lupus. I'm a lupus warrior. I'm a friend. I'm a sister. I'm a daughter. I'm a Gamma Pi Rho, Lupus Sorority Incorporated founder.
Yes.
I'm a Zeta Phi Beta, Sorority Incorporated. I wear many hats. So today you have the academic person because I believe you centered this around the doctoral journey. So you have that person today.
Okay, I appreciate it. We will be discussing autoimmune while accomplishing her doctorates. Yes, she does have her doctorates. And it's not crazy, but for someone who has lupus that went into nurse practitioner and right straight into the doctorates.
Yeah.
What was that like?
I know people, you know, I know it sounds crazy and I know people thought, oh my gosh, she's doing too much. And I heard that quite often, but sometimes it just made me self-reflect. Am I doing too much or is that person commenting not doing enough? It wasn't exactly planned. So I basically have been in school since 2021. I think that spring quarter, I started my nurse practitioner, FNP, family nurse practitioner track. And I knew towards the end of that track that I wanted to continue. And one of the reasons I decided to do that is because I was uncertain if I wanted to go into administration, if I wanted to go into a leadership role at work, or start my own thing, my own consulting business. So I thought the doctorate would suit me for that purpose. And then I had to decide, do I want to do DNP, Doctor of Nursing Practitioner, or did I want to do Doctor of Nursing Practice, or did I want to do the DHA, which is the Doctor of Healthcare Administration? I chose that DHA program because it has a huge business organizational component that prepares you to lead organizations, to do leadership role. And so that's what I did. And yeah, it was crazy. I took a 6-month break in between. So in between completing the nurse practitioner track, I took 6 months off, and then I transitioned into the doctorate program.
Yeah, because every time we went out of town, you were studying.
I had a laptop. I couldn't even kick it with you guys because you're like, we going here. I'm like, no, top notch going to take a test in the room. I remember when we were in St. Louis, and as soon as we got out the transportation, got out of the cab, I had to go straight up to the room and log in and do a quiz. So that had been my life for like 3.5, 4 years. I try to balance work life, social, like I try to do the sorority stuff, okay, do the family stuff, okay, do the academic stuff. And most times I was able to juggle and balance. I mean, looking back, God was really covering me.
Yes, because you were doing a lot, even in LA. We would be at dinner or celebrating, like, I gotta go take a test.
Gotta go log in. Yeah. But that was that whole micromanaging my own schedule. Like I had to set certain days for study. I already have a work schedule. Okay. Then I had to compromise with my daughter at home. I have one living at home. Like, hey, I can only cook 2 times a week now. You're used to 5, it's going down to 2. Okay.
Don't play with it.
We got to order 2 nights, and then 2 nights we could either do leftovers, or you could cook, or you could order, or whatever it's going to be. So I had to kind of just strategize how, even down to laundry, even down to grocery shopping. So it was a lot.
And that's why I look up to you, because after finishing my nursing, I always wanted to do nurse practitioner. So when you came along, I'm like, oh, okay, let me jump on board. Then you went from your doctors. I said, listen, I don't want to go back to school.
But see, you don't have to follow my path. Everybody should follow, like you following your path with this media, social media, with your YouTube, and with your blogging, and with your podcast. And so that's your way that you educate and advocate for lupus. So my way is more on educational, on health literacy, on health promotion. So we're doing the same thing, we're just doing it different ways.
And I'm glad that you say that, because everybody got their own way on how they want to advocate for lupus. It doesn't have to be the same exact thing. You can still reach people teaching it in different ways.
Exactly. And I talked to Dion Langley a lot about that. Like, he uses his music. Okay. Emmett has a way that he does. The male lupus warrior tag team, dream team. Everybody has their different way, and no way is wrong. No way is right. It's what gifts and talents you have, that you use that to enable other people to, number one, understand and know lupus. And number two, to use your voice and your platforms and your resources for advocacy and education.
Absolutely. And I feel like that is what separates us, our individuality, because we are individual people, but we collaborate, which is the most important thing, because some people or some foundations don't collaborate. They see it as a
threat.
A threat. There you go. They see it as a threat, and it's like we're fighting for the same exact thing. So if your mission means what you say it means, then you have no problem collaborating and doing partnerships with others, because it's only one lupus word, right?
Well, you have to remember. So let me answer that in a different way for you. Like I told you, I had a choice between the DNP and the DHA. So the DHA brain is saying a collaboration, you look at it almost like a business deal, right? So
Absolutely.
for me to collaborate with you or for you to collaborate with me, you look at, okay, what's in this for me? And
Absolutely.
that's how bigger organizations look at that. They're figuring, I already have sponsors, I already have advertising. What can working with Lupus Has No Face bring to me? And if it cannot bring them a bigger audience, if it cannot bring them funding, if they cannot bring some tangibles that they consider valuable, you'll get no collaboration.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that you say that too, because people like to collaborate without nothing. And at the end of the day, it's for us to deliver a message, but we still have to have funding to do a lot of the things that we do throughout the year too.
Yeah. And it's even like speaking on lupus. Okay. Some organizations offer an honorarium, a stipend, pay for travel. Okay. You know, if you reach out or somebody reach out, I might say, you know what, that's a fellow lupus warrior. Let me just jump on in here and do this. So I don't necessarily look for something of a monetary value.
Yeah, and I definitely understand that too. Because you get more you're blessed with more abundance sometimes when you do that, but it gotta be authentic, right?
Did you say it has to be on video?
No, authentic.
Oh, authentic, yes. Yes. You know, because so you have to remember, we, like you said, we have the same mission. We just go about it differently. So if
Absolutely.
my goal is to reach more people and you have a big audience, then it would make sense that if I want to promote lupus awareness, promote advocacy, promote health literacy, then why not be on your podcast?
Absolutely. I love you for that. I love you for that. Okay. Can you share your personal journey with lupus and how it has shaped your career as a doctor?
Okay. My personal journey with lupus began in 2011. Officially, I say officially because several years before that, I obviously had signs and symptoms that were diagnosed as something else.
Absolutely.
The diagnosis came at a very critical time in my life, 6 months after a stressful life event. And so the doctors feel like that stressful life event just brought the lupus out of the dormant state that it had been quietly, waiting for its moment to come out. So that was in 2011. And to be honest with you, Savannah, it took me about a good 2 years to come to terms with it, because I'm like everybody else. I had that anger phase. I had that confused phase. Even though at that time I was a nurse, I got a blurb in school about lupus, and then we went on to the next topic. So I had to spend that 2 years learning more about it, finding support. That's what led me to seek out a support group. Um, it was a difficult transition because personally, I had just lost a spouse. My family dynamics changed. I had 2 kids still wanting mom, needing mom every, all day, every day, like the usual. So I couldn't let this new diagnosis stop me from functioning. So I did take some time off work initially. I slowly eased myself back, but lupus kind of took it. I didn't know which way it was coming at me, because when I was diagnosed, I had lung inflammation, as well as 3 other organs. So I didn't know how this was going to turn out for me. I was initially on chemotherapy, and at least 3 other oral agents to get it under control. So once it was under control, I started running from a calling. The calling was that I was supposed to do more with this lupus. I was supposed to help other people learn how to deal with it. And I ignored this calling. I ignored it. And it was actually my grandmother who told me I need to stop running and just do what I'm being called to do. And so that led me into facilitating support groups and then branching off into other things in the lupus community.
Yes, that you are a very strong advocate. Like your name rings bells. You know what I mean? And when you show up and you do your thing, you know exactly what it is that you're talking about. Like you do not play when it comes to any of that. And just by knowing you for these years, like you never changed ever. You
You know,
remain consistently who you
consistent
are
research.
the whole way through.
Because this is my authentic self, right? I can't pretend to be you. I can't pretend to be the next person. It's like I have my own style of how I explain things. I like PowerPoints. I like presentations. You like to talk. Somebody else might play music, beat the drums. Somebody might shake the tambourine. We all do our own little thing.
And you do it with ease. Like if I didn't know what lupus was and if I was on the warrior, I would be like, dang, you look healthy. Like how can you do all of these things versus a healthy person having accomplished half of what you accomplished?
But I think I don't consider myself that type A, but I knew early on with this diagnosis that I wanted to beat it, if that makes sense. That
Absolutely.
it's gonna affect my life. It's gonna change some things. I'm gonna have down days. I'm gonna flare up here and there, right? But I was determined to still thrive and survive with it and still show. I wanted to be the example to other people. Like their journey might not be to get a doctorate degree. Their journey might be to open a restaurant. Their journey might be to start a book club. Their journey might be to have a podcast show. So the point is, I was determined through self-determination and you like that innate thing in you that tells you that you have to overcome and you have to surpass all
Absolutely.
these challenging times, and that's nothing nobody. Someone can give you self-determination or self-motivation. You have to have that in you.
Absolutely. People can speak to you all day and
All day.
uplift you and praise you for the things that they think you do. But if you don't have it in yourself when you lay down at night, it's not going anywhere.
No, excuse me, you all. I have a little sinus thing going on.
Yeah,
And that's
I'm
okay.
sniffling
They
over
seen
here.
somebody blow their nose before. But yes, Savannah, you're right. With lupus, you have two choices, okay? You're going to try to control it as much as possible, or you're going to let it control you. Now, yes, it's going to modify the way you work. I work under accommodations. I fill out the paperwork for school for accommodations. Like there are going to be times where maybe I got to miss class, right? Or maybe my assignment might be a little late because I was flared up for 2 weeks and I couldn't get it done. So I think everybody has to look at where it is. If you're at point A and you want to get to point Z, whatever that point is, you have to kind of map that road out. And you got to be prepared with lupus, you have to be prepared for the unexpected. I didn't expect to flare and be in the hospital and have a minimally invasive surgical procedure in my last semester. I didn't plan that.
Yeah.
But I told my kids, graduation is in a few months. I don't care if you rolling me on a stretcher across the stage, in a wheelchair, on a scooter, on roller skates, or God forbid, in a casket. Get the degree because we've all earned it. That's a family degree. That is what I told my kids.
And it absolutely is just a touch on doctors. Your other two daughters are doctors, right?
Alex is a PharmD, a pharmacy doctorate, and Samantha is a DPT, which is a doctor of physical therapy. And my eldest is a master sergeant in the Air Force. So,
don't play with you.
I can't complain about my kids and how they turned out. I mean, I could complain, but why? Why?
You don't need to cook ever at all. You got somebody, you got a chef to come in.
You know what? These girls, I got to tell you, sometimes you think they don't love you or they're not thinking about you, but let me flare. Let me send a text. I'm not feeling well. They are right on it. Right on it.
I
The
bet
pharmacist is
that is a
talking
good
about the
thing.
meds and saying, Mom, did you start the prednisone? The PT is massaging my legs, getting heating ice and whatever. The master sergeant's getting me on video. I want to see you, Mom. Let me see what you're doing. You need to lay down. You need to rest. So they come through all the time. That support, I could not make it without that.
Yes, and people do not understand support is everything. So that's why it's so important to
It's number
accept.
one.
Yeah,
You have God's grace, right? But then support in your support team, like who that is. I had support mates at school, my doctorate program, my cohorts, when they found out I was in the hospital, Dr. Kenneth Griffin and what was the other one? Dr. Mark Hart, if they're listening. We had a team project due and they was like, okay, we got you. They would text me, we got you, we introduced stuff, we put it in there. It's like they rallied, they rallied for me in February, March. Yeah.
and people don't understand like that support, it holds
That's
dear to our
important.
heart. Like it's very important. That's
Yeah.
why it's good to accept what you have so you can start learning to live well with it, because if you don't accept it, you're just going to be in a dark space.
If you don't accept it and you don't learn, then you don't learn how to manage and deal. So if some people, your emotional and mental stability has a lot to do with how you handle a chronic illness, autoimmune or lupus. Okay, if you're mentally and emotionally not strong, you're easily flustered. You're easily affected by the things in your previous life that now you can't do or now you have to moderate with. It's very hard for you to mourn and grow, like mourn what lupus has wreaked havoc in your life on, but then still take steps forward to overcome and supersede.
Absolutely, because pain can definitely play on your mental,
All of it, the
That's a whole
fatigue,
beast within
the
itself.
pain, all of it, the emotional. And speaking of pain, when I had this last flare up and I had these assignments still I'm trying to do, I'm in a hospital with the laptop, right? And the nurse said, "Do you need pain medicine?" I said, "I do, but if I take it, I'm gonna be drowsy and I can't finish my assignment." So it's like you constantly got to make choices on how you're going. But when I finished that assignment, I pushed that button and said, "Bring that medicine on in."
Spoken like a true warrior. Spoken like a true warrior.
Right.
How has having lupus influenced your approach to patient care in autoimmune disease?
You know what? That's that the thing we feel, the stigmatization surrounding pain or drug seeking, and when you go to the ED saying you in pain and they looking at you like, "Wow, you look good. What you talking about?" And they don't want. It changed my perspective of how I view patients when they rate their pain, and then it also made me educate myself on what's called multimodal pain management. So I actually, for my unit at one hospital, became like the pain management expert for the unit, because we got a lot of sickle cell patients, we got a lot of cancer patients, a lot of lupus patients, chronic pain patients who were used to taking high opioid amounts for their condition. And so a lot of staff didn't quite know how to treat them or take care of them, because they would say, "Okay, you gave me my 60 milligrams, but I'm still in pain." So they didn't know how to navigate that, how to develop a care plan, and how to offer alternatives for this patient to be comfortable. So I actually my dealings with lupus enabled me and helped me be able to take care of these patients at a higher level of satisfaction.
That is so beautiful and sad at the same time. You know what I mean? Because if it wasn't for you or whoever else made a difference on their unit or their floor, their wing, then some doctors will still view that. And it's just kind of like, what do lupus look like? Or what do pain look like? Or why do pain have to have you looking not put together? Why do pain have to not have you take a shower, not do your hair and things of
Right.
that nature? Like, why why is
Right.
that? Like, what is the gap between looking like you want to feel good and you're in pain versus, you know, coming in there in your PJs or something? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's also cultural awareness because, you know, African Americans, we handle pain differently. Perhaps a Latino may be more vocal and have more facial expressions or body language expressing pain. So if me, I'm kind of stoic with it. And like you, if I know I'm going to the hospital, the first thing I want to do is shower, put
Absolutely.
on some clean underwear, moisturize, put some baby oil on my feet, right? You know, who
Yes,
going in the hospital with crusty feet? My daughter's be like,
right.
Mom, you sick, get in the car. I'm like, no, I gotta get ready first.
Yes. And
And
that's what I
and
want to
yeah,
go through
and
here.
usually I'm trying to either get the gel and slick the hair back or up and wrap it up because I know what's gonna happen when I get there, right? So I'm sure I don't look like I'm in pain when I show up, but right now I'm at a 6 out of 10. But I can laugh, I can smile, I can make jokes with you, I can get through this conversation because you get used to it and you learn to adapt. Because if you don't, then you will need higher levels of pain medication to make it through the day. Where I've had none all day, not even actually for a couple of months.
And that is not a quality of life at all. To be
Well,
on
no,
pain meds all
because
day.
what's not a quality of life? Having pain or
Being on pain
needing?
medication all day.
No. I don't want to be, you know, if you need it, I don't want to judge people. I drive, so that's a consideration. Being on pain medications limits your driving, your ability to think. You might be
Exactly.
drowsy. You might have constipation issues. It's side effects to everything. But so,
Mhm.
um, if I need to take something, I will. But usually in the evening, once I'm home, I'm not going to drive on any kind of pain medicine. Maybe a Tylenol
And
or something like that. But anything
ibuprofen or
stronger,
something like that.
yeah, yeah.
Yes, that like I'm totally not against medication at all. I'm just saying like for people that can't accept or, you know, find that tolerance to go all day without having to take, you know, pain meds every couple of hours to be okay. It's not a quality of life.
You know what I tell my patients? Turn on some music therapy,
Yeah.
aromatherapy. I truly believe in that. And I have actually taken out my cell phone at times and played my playlist. That smooth jazzy, and I
Oh
turn the lights
yes.
down. I give them some Tylenol. I say, look, your Oxycontin due in an hour. Let me give you this Tylenol until then. I come back with after the music, the little massage. They sleep. I'm like, great job, LaShawn.
That is beautiful. We're going to go on to the next question, but I'm gonna have Tone start with some of these questions or things that our guest has wrote in the comments. So Tone, when you ready, can you start putting on some of those comments? So LaShawn, Dr. LaShawn can read them. Until he do that, the next question is: what accomplishments are you most proud of in your career, despite the obstacles posed by lupus?
Okay, so in my total career, I think I would say the best accomplishments or the things that I feel most passionate about is making a difference. And I'm gonna just real briefly say two things. I had a guy who was and he got a diagnosis that you can be terminal. And he felt like nobody was listening to
Mm,
his complaints of pain. And before he left, he and his wife wrote a note to me and said, "Thank you for listening. Thank you. You were the first nurse to actually do something that made my husband feel better." Another time was a lupus patient, and this was during COVID. I had a mask on. She couldn't see my face, but Dr. Jolly had asked me to go and see her. She was about a young girl in her 20s, and her husband was getting ready to divorce her and take the kids because he couldn't deal with lupus. And I went to talk to her. The point of me talking to her was to try to see if she would like the lupus support group. And I told her I had lupus, and she told me I was a liar. And I said, why do you think I'm lying? And she said, because you're beautiful. And I said, you're beautiful too. She says, no, lupus is ugly. Lupus has made me ugly. And you are pretty. You have pretty teeth and a pretty smell and pretty hair. You don't have lupus. And just hearing how she felt about herself, and just being able to, before I left that room, have her smile and be open and be accepting of support. Those are some highlights of my career that I'm most proud of.
That is so beautiful. I'm going to comment on what you said in just a few moments, but we're going to put some comments on the screen, and I would like if you can read them off.
All right, if I could see them. Okay.
Can you see?
Yeah, but I don't see anything. I don't see any questions unless am I supposed to go in the
You're
chat?
just reading what they say. Yeah, you just reading what they say.
Okay, but let me go in the chat and see if I see anything.
I
don't see anything. I don't see anything to read.
Oh my God. Okay, I'll read them off. So
I don't see anything to read. I really don't. No.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on your side.
But girl, you know I don't know. You read it to me. I don't see anything. It says you're in the show. Everyone can see and hear you. Uploading, recording. That's all I see.
Oh, you're not. You on the wrong. That's for you. You're supposed to still look at your Facebook.
Oh, wait. Let me go over here. Girl, you know what? All right. I think I see. I say it's so defeating showing up to the ED looking how I do, but in extreme pain. It's like I have to convince them I'm hurting when I don't even have the energy for anything. That's from Sue Shania. And then Patricia D said the reason why my daughter became a nurse. So I think she's saying her daughter became a nurse because of her pain issues, or how she was stigmatized or stereotyped on her pain issues. And yeah, it is hard to try to advocate for yourself for pain control when you're feeling miserable. Absolutely. Thank goodness I have my doctor on text message, and believe me when I say if I have a problem, I like, look, they don't want to give me any medicine in this ED, call up here and put some orders in. And it happens like that.
That
part. Why I be saying, if you don't put them in, I'm gonna log in and put them in myself.
Look at that. Everybody don't got their doctor's degree. Everybody can't do that.
Girl, they have nothing to do with the doctorate. That was just me being me.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hello to you all. We greatly appreciate you tuning in. We're going to continue the conversation. Keep the comments coming. If we do not read the comments while you're on live, we will definitely respond back to them. And you can go on the YouTube Lupus Has No Face podcast, and I'll respond, or LaShawn will respond. In what ways? No. So you said, oh my God, what did you say? Your last comment that you just said, and I just got the brain fog.
Was it about pain or about the highlights of my career that I'm most proud of?
Yes,
or
the highlights of your career that you are most proud of?
Making a difference for other people.
Yes, that is so beautiful. And that right there just lets you know why you cannot stop. Like those things right there, it just like, okay, it just fuel you back up. Like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, because sometimes being an advocate and having our, nonprofits in our regular life, and, that whatever is going on in our life, sometimes we get tired, and sometimes, we do want to kind of like slow down. But then you get that person in front of you, and it's like, I can't. It ain't loud enough yet. It ain't bold enough yet. It's not in our face yet. It's not on the radio yet. It's not on the commercial.
That part.
Everybody has mental health awareness and cancer. Where's lupus awareness on the radio? You know what I'm saying? Where's lupus that when we turn around? That's where we're aiming for, and I feel like once we get that, because we will get that, that's going to be just all of them more. That's just going to hit so different.
Well, the way I see that, Savannah, is this. You have to look at who lupus primarily affects, right? And so we already know that there's
Yeah.
women, and we already know there's women of color. So you have to look at where we sit on the totem pole as far as hierarchy for our health care. We're at the bottom. So for lupus to really get the recognition, the amount of attention, the level of awareness, I personally feel we'll have to link it with something, some other intersection or some other autoimmune or some other condition to almost tag team it, if that makes sense to you. So that's what I believe. Because outside of a sponsor that either has a personal connection to lupus or someone in their life has a connection to lupus that is able to be a spokesperson for it, I don't think we'll necessarily push the dial on it.
And I totally understand when you say that. And if that's a start, that we have to link up with other invisible illness, it wouldn't be such a bad thing, only because a lot of lupus warriors have fibromyalgia and rheumatoid arthritis and other invisible illnesses added on to the umbrella. So that wouldn't be a bad thing if that's somewhere that we want to start. But like myself, I'm in the media, podcasting and things like that. It wouldn't be a bad thing to get on the radio. So I feel like once we get one yes in an area, we just blow it up. So that one yes versus a million no's, that's still, that's still light. That's still bright. That's still like, okay.
We have to do it. So I say this all the time.
Yes.
We in the lupus community have to take the responsibility and the action to get our messages out there. We cannot depend on anybody else, not politicians, not physicians, not rheumatologists, not Nike, not any. It's our daily life. It's what we walk through every day. And so if any changes are to occur, they kind of really need to center we need to be involved. So like we need to be at the table with that.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you.
There is a comment. There is a young lady asking what nurse, I think she's a nurse. She says, I touched on some points about getting a blurb about lupus and more in nursing school, and she agrees. What do I think most clinicians need to know when involved in care for patients with lupus? I think it's very important for clinicians to know that lupus will not look the same for all the lupus patients, right? Depending on the organ involvement, their symptoms may be different. The type of care they require will be different. It's not gonna look the same. So where somebody else may present with a rash and pain, another one may present with swollen joints and inability to walk. So I think the guard has to always be up with clinicians when they're assessing somebody coming through the ED. If they're coming in with these common symptoms of fatigue, of chronic fatigue, no matter how much you sleep, you're tired, that they, do a further health history to see if autoimmune runs in the family. If they have inflammation, if they have, joints swollen, because everybody thinks you need to have a butterfly rash, and you absolutely don't. So I think in nursing schools, if they, increase the curriculum to more than a blurb about lupus, because we get more on RA, rheumatoid arthritis, we get more on other autoimmune and inflammatory diseases. So I think if they add us 2 more pages to say, hey, lupus is not going to look the same for everyone. It is very important to ask and obtain a complete history, because that is how lupus is diagnosed. It is, if you're not active with it when you go to the hospital, your markers will not indicate it. Absolutely. What I mean by markers, your inflammatory markers, certain blood tests that are done, if you're not in an active flare, those might not present themselves. So it's really going to come down to health history and family history, trying to figure out what's going on.
And that's where you have to be an advocate for yourself, because you do have the right to get tested for anything that you ask. And if you're just going in there and just saying, let them do whatever and not speaking up, that's a problem too, because you
But
got
most
some
people
good
don't know that
doctors.
to ask for lupus, to say, hey, do a panel, check me for lupus, or check me for this, or check me for MS, or check me for all these other things that lupus can look like. Yeah, that's why it's so hard to diagnose, because it looks like a whole lot of other cousins.
And that is correct as well. But we still got to pay attention to our bodies, because I'm sure sometimes, if it's not the first time, something happened that you felt kind of weird and lasted for a long time and got over it and came back and probably got a little, extensive, and you kind of ignored it. So we have to do better as a whole, as well as paying attention to our body.
Exactly. There is a comment. I think it's Lisa Ford is asking for more information of how to get involved with what we have going on. So, Savannah, I don't know what you want to put in the chat, if you want to put your website up, if you want to give her Gamma Pyro's information, if you want
We're
to put
gonna do
my
it
number in there.
all. I'm a part of it. We are part of it. You got your different entity. I got my different entity. We give her a choice. So Miss Lisa Ford, we are going to drop things in a chat that you can just go and look at your leisure and pick and choose to what you want to start with. I think that's fair.
That's fair.
Yes. Thank you so much. Can you discuss any research or initiatives that you were involved in with regarding lupus and autoimmune diseases?
I can tell you of a couple of things I was denied for, and one was the fatigue trial, and one was a trial for vitamin, I want to say vitamin D and the levels in lupus. So for the fatigue one, which is ironic to me, but they were looking for people with lupus. And so I filled out all the information or everything. And then I got called saying I didn't qualify because of the medications I was on. So I was like, I'm on medications for lupus.
Right.
But that disqualified me from the study. Don't ask me.
I want to so bad.
I have done, what is it called? It was something with Dr. Ramsey out of Northwestern, where you learn about research and clinical trials, and then you take that information out of popular opinion leader, POL, popular opinion leader. So that's basically saying people who have credibility in their communities, that people trust and would listen to go and reach out into my network to talk about clinical trials. So those are the only things I've done.
I have a question that's not on here, but just hearing you say that you were denied for certain things, do you think that when it comes to lupus and the research that they are putting on or looking at it from a personal from their personal glance on kind of like what they think it should look like, or what they want, or the pieces that they want to see added together? And I asked that because, before you answer that question, because the denial, that's crazy.
Based on medications. So in other words, they thought one of these medications might be contributing to fatigue. So can we really say that's the lupus because you're taking XYZ? So I understood that from, after I analyzed it, but that was just the craziness behind having something for lupus and then somebody with lupus who's African American trying to participate and saying, oh, you don't qualify. But to answer your questions, no, I don't think the research is trying to get it to prove some ulterior motive of what they want. I really feel like more African Americans should participate, because we don't want drugs or treatments that are not going to be effective for us. And the only way we're going to know that is if we're in the clinical trials.
Yes. I'm gonna make a comment. I feel as though that, like, I understand it, why you said that they denied you, but on the other hand, I feel like they shouldn't have denied you, because that's a good patient to have, to see if this is the lupus causing chronic fatigue, or is it the medication? You know what I mean? Because you do want to know that. They should want to know that.
Well, they have their inclusion exclusion criteria, so that
I know.
probably was somewhere on the exclusion list that I didn't see. It ain't gonna go your way, Savannah. So stop.
I know. I just said, I gotta,
Let me
Um,
look at these questions. Let's
what do
see.
you wish more people understood about lupus and autoimmune disease?
I'm sorry. I was reading those. What did you say? Could you repeat it, please?
Yes. What do you wish more people understood about lupus and autoimmune disease? No. You guys, we have some technical difficulties. It is okay. While we wait on her, I did do a book signing for Lupus Awareness Month. She's back on. Okay, we'll talk about that later. Okay, let me just my producer, you hear my producer back. So I did do LaShawn, 1 second. I did do book signing in May for Lupus Awareness Month. It just it's more so of for the lupus warriors that just newly got diagnosed, but it's really for anyone. But I was really speaking to them, just learning how to learn their triggers and what to do and how to document, and keeping appointments and how they feel, and letting them know that what they think is not crazy. So I don't have too much time to even really explain about that. But if you guys are more interested in the book, you can obtain that book at www.lupushasnoface.com or Amazon. Wellness Guide to Living Well with Lupus. And we have Miss Garolla back on. What happened?
I hit the wrong button. You know me and technology are not friends, girl. I was in the chat and I tried to leave the chat and I exited out, but I got back in real quick, didn't I?
Oh, you did. I had to hurry to speed it up.
Before you got your things out, I was back. It's like, stop.
You was quick. You was quick.
I recovered quickly and nicely. Thank you.
Intermission. We got a question for you. Go back, so.
I dropped my number in the chat too, in case somebody wanted to ask me something later or something. LaShawn, do you find that rheumatologists typically have a higher rate of recognizing lupus versus patients' reliance on the primary care? Oh, definitely. Any person with lupus, I definitely highly recommend your treatment team, your care team includes your PCP and rheumatology, and or a specialist, depending on where your lupus is active at. So if it's in the kidneys, nephrology. If it's the heart, cardiology. If it's the lung, pulmonology. It is not uncommon for lupus patients to have 4 specialists on their team. So, I mean, I fire my pulmonologist, but I have a PCP and a rheumatologist. Yes, ma'am. I do.
And you got and thank you for saying that. You have the right. If you are
You have the right.
Yes, you are not comfortable
right.
with your specialist or your therapist or whatever it is, you do have the right to fire them.
When a provider cannot listen to you and goes and does something that you're saying, no, I'm experienced, I'm the expert with this. We keep the Salumedrol drip running for a full 24 hours before we transition to PO when I'm oral when I'm in the hospital. He came in and wrote orders to stop the drip. And I text my doctor. I was like, you can ask him to sign off my case. Please call the nurse and put my orders back to put my drip back. And we're going to do what we usually do. And then we will start the prednisone taper tomorrow. Thank you. And that's what we did.
And that's all about having a voice. You gotta be able to speak up for yourself. You just have
well, you
to.
have to know your body. You have to know how lupus affects you. You have to know what works for you. Some people new at it won't know that, but I'm since 2011 in with this, so I know what we do. I know the cocktails. I know the mixes. I know how much. I know the dose. I know when to taper. I know when to add. I know what. So some newbie coming in who didn't read my chart and trying to make orders like, no, sir. No, sir.
I already couldn't imagine how that situation went. But you guys,
He came
but
back
you
the
guys,
next day and apologized because
oh,
my doctor said, hey, you know, that is one of our clinicians here at this hospital. And you just went in that room without reading that chart and changed some orders. And he came back the next day and apologized. So he said we got off on the wrong foot. No,
we got off on the wrong foot, but you would not be treating me again. Hey, listen. It is okay. But I am glad that you said that you need more than just a PCP. I'm very vocal about you have anything that's wrong with you, you need a specialist in every department.
yeah, yeah.
It's a must.
Yeah, usually the PCP is not usually the one to diagnose lupus. Usually it's going to be dermatology or rheumatology. If you have the skin involvement, the hair loss and all that, it's usually going to be the dermatologist that suspect it. Now the PCP may suspect it, but usually they'll refer you to rheumatology to get the official diagnosis.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You are dropping a lot of gems here. I love it. I love it.
What did you expect, girl? What?
Nothing less. That's why I wanted you, because you dope. So I wanted to do the
like trying not to. I'm like, let me go ahead and do this for this girl because she gonna come at me next year too. So let me just go get it out her system.
I had to have you on here, and this is not gonna be the last time. And you just finished your doctorate, so I just had to highlight you and pick up right all at the same time while we helping our amazing warriors.
I didn't see. I was looking for any questions. I didn't see any more. So.
How do you stay current with medication advancements in lupus treatments while managing your own health?
So that would come from reading. So all of the current or my medication regimen hasn't changed in probably 3 years. So any knowledge I've gotten about new treatments and what's come out has mostly been geared toward nephritis, and I don't have kidney involvement at all with my lupus, thank God. So it will be through reading peer-reviewed journals or, what I see in, advertised or as sponsors at events, lupus events. They're there at their table. They talk about what they have new. That's how I learn.
Absolutely. That's amazing. Yes. Education is very important. Read.
Mm-hmm. It's fundamental. It's fundamental.
It is. And things is always changing. You have to. You have to.
But here's the thing. What happens when we read and we don't comprehend what we read? And I say that because health literacy, I'm a real big proponent of health disparities. And I feel like for us in the lupus community to decrease the health disparity with this particular and other diseases and illnesses too, we have to increase our health literacy, so increase our education, and we have to increase our financial resources. You have better options and choices most times with financial reserves and options for treatment. And you all know what I'm saying. So if I have this health plan and I'm limited where I can go, but I got this health plan and I can go where I want to go and I don't need a referral and I got it like that, then I have more options available to me. If your financial situation is a little different and you have a plan that is dictating to you where you can go, who you can see, that's a problem.
So, in lack of a better verbiage, because that was a lot, I understood it, but I want to make sure our people understand it. What are you saying in English terms?
In English terms, I'm saying when you have more financial resources, better insurance, more money, more finances, more people that support you with money or finances or access to it. And maybe you don't have it, but grandmother has it in the chest under the jar. You have more options. I'm not going to necessarily say better because county has a lot of excellent physicians, but you have more choices, access, the opportunity to see what else is out there. The access is different. It's about access. Okay.
Yep. And do your homework, you guys. If you have insurance, and it's not in network for some doctors that you want to go to, you do have a right to switch it. So you're not locked in. So for those that do not know, you have the right to switch your insurance.
Don't talk about you don't understand that, Savannah. You don't understand that.
I said I understood it, but I just the people that's on here that's not in the field and things like that kind of want to
Okay.
break it down for them.
Okay. Okay.
I understood it. You are a mess. What role do you think lifestyle changes plays in managing autoimmune conditions like lupus?
Okay, so for me, lifestyle, one thing that's helped me is walking 3 miles a couple times a week. And people would look at my weight and think I'm inactive. When I'm in my little Fitbit group, I lead everybody. They'd be like, you did that many? I was like, yeah, y'all assume bigger people are lazy and don't move. So lifestyle of exercising or walking or getting some, because you want healthy joints. You want to move them, right? Eating in portion size, especially when we're flared up and on prednisone. I strictly cut carbs and sugar because I have no choice. Otherwise, I'd be like a big old whale. Smoking and drinking. Smoking cessation is one of the best things you can do, whether you got lupus or not. Smoking cessation if you smoke. Alcohol intake reducing. I'm not saying don't ever drink, but I'm saying we don't need 4 when we drink.
Yes, and
that's lifestyle. Alcohol, tobacco, diet, exercise, lifestyle.
That is right. And when you do know your body and know your triggers and things of that nature, you will understand what type of liquor you can assume and what you can't assume. Like for me, it's some liquors that will swell me up that I just got to stay away from. So
now, see, that's what you're saying. Don't mix that with what I said.
No, not with you. I'm just giving them some more. I'm just adding to it. I put some seasoning in what
that Dr. LaShawn said it depends on what kind. I didn't say to choose what kind of alcohol. I said limit your alcohol.
You gotta limit your alcohol too, but I gotta tell them too for those that do that. Pay attention to your body because some liquor will swell you up, and some won't. So you gotta find the right type. I said that.
Look, if y'all want to listen to that, good. I'm saying alcohol in moderation. We don't need to drink every day, and we don't need to have 3 and 4 and 5. Okay, you want to have your little glass of wine a couple times a week, more power to you. But if you're on pain medication, obviously curb the alcohol completely while you're on that. So, yep,
absolutely. See.
You ain't getting me caught up, girl.
They might. I'm listening to you. They gotta hear both sides. You got some people on here that's probably been consuming alcohol and been swollen up and don't even know why. But then
I don't want them thinking, oh, it's the type. Oh, I had vodka. I should have had rum. I ain't said that.
Y'all better not twist these words on here. You know exactly what she and I said. Oh my God. The last question. Looking ahead, what are your hopes for future of lupus research and awareness?
Obviously, like everybody, I hope for a cure. In my lifetime, do I expect to see that? No, but in generations, I mean, I have a granddaughter. She will have kids one day, and I hope that this is not passed down. So I would say that's number one that I would like to see. And what was the other part of that question?
Where did I go? Looking ahead, what are your hopes for the future of lupus research and awareness?
And awareness, obviously, national, consistent exposure, not just in the month of May. In the month of May, I promise you, I got about 10 invitations to speak or do interviews. And like you said, this is a year all year we need to be running this, right? I know you do your stuff, your show, your podcast every Wednesday. Your topics vary. I think in the background is always lupus, but I know you talk about other things too. So that's what I would like to see. I would like to see a cure for particularly based off research that African Americans women participated in, and men too. And then secondly, for advocacy and awareness, I would like to see it on a national level and have the purple ribbon as recognizable as the pink.
Absolutely. I would definitely have to agree with you on that. And yes, as you heard, Dr. LaShawn Garolla said, I am here every Wednesday at 6:30 Central Standard Time. And we talk about lupus and everything because we're not just in a box. Okay. We have regular lives that we live. So I like to cover lupus and everything. Um, so that this is what this podcast is all about. A lot of people learn some things. There's a lot of takeaways and so on and so forth. So, and then I bring powerful women on like yourself.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So what takeaways, I want to be respectful of your time. So what takeaways would you leave our viewers today?
Takeaways I would leave your viewers today is, follow your own path and not one of others. You know your limitations, you know your strengths and your weaknesses. What one person does in their path with lupus may not be your journey is your journey. Keep your mindset open to increasing your knowledge base about lupus. And just know that anything is possible with lupus. Lupus is not the end all be all. Okay. We can supersede most times with the obstacles that we have. Like, hang in there, stay in the race.
Absolutely. And do you want to drop any of your tags if we already do not have them in there, if they want to visit your support group or contact you in any way for anything? You got any upcoming events that you want to share?
Thanks, Dion. I see Dion's commenting. Listen,
hey, Dion.
Listen, Facebook people, I'm only on Facebook right now. That's right. So y'all see my first name, LaShawn, Garolla, Gurrola. I'm gonna drop that in the chat. That's how I'm on Facebook. From there, I can connect you to my lupus support group, which is monthly. It's usually on a Saturday. I do try to do like socials twice a year. So June will be a social, meaning we'll get together outside, whether it's go bowling, go for pizza, go for appetizers and drinks. Doesn't have to be alcohol, but it's certainly your option if you want to have it. Mocktail.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go. And I'm trying to get back in the little chat. Okay, here's in the chat. So I'll put that in there for Facebook people. And I think that's about it. But yeah, this was fun. I enjoyed. It was nice to laugh with you, and yeah. Sometimes we are serious. I know I am. But this was very important, and I think we discussed some great things, and I'm happy.
We definitely discussed some great things. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule for coming on.
You know it's busy. You know it's busy, Savannah.
It's gonna be busy for the rest of your life.
You know what? I think I'm gonna slow down in a few years. I think I say that, right? I said that 2 years ago, but I still haven't.
We'll see, because you got other stuff that you do with rebuilding houses and things of that nature. But we're not even.
You know what? When you do your lupus and finance, I'll come back. You do lupus and finance, I'll come back and I'll have that conversation with you. I'll bring my wifey team with me. That's Tamiko and Levita.
All right. Okay. We're going to definitely set that up. So, again, thank you for your time, for coming on. It's always a pleasure of having you. Congratulations on your doctorate. And you guys, we are here every Wednesday at 6:30 Central Standard Time. If you miss it live on Facebook, you can go to the YouTube Lupus Has No Face podcast and replay it and comment. And again, myself, or if Dr. LaShawn Garolla would like to respond, she will respond as well. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Until next time.